Good day, folks, and welcome to Blue Eyed Sports with Allan Noblett, and we're available on Facebook. Hold on, whoa, on Facebook at Blue Eyed. Oh my God, Blue Eyed Sports with Allan Noblett. Available on Facebook. Please send your friends an invite. Drop a like, comment if you can. We're available on X at Cyborg Caper, YouTube as well at Blue Eyed Sports. So whatever platform you like. Available on all three. And we're getting into match week 31 in the Premier League, folks, and that kicks off in about an hour and a half. So match week 31 games getting underway. And folks, kind of a rough week with picks last week, as I went 5-5 in my picks. So picks have really fallen off and hovered below 500 for the past couple weeks, or at 500. I haven't been able to get any better than that. Not keeping these numbers for next year. But I'm not even going to go over last week's games, folks. I'm just going to jump into picks for this week, and before that, just talk about where we are at in the table. Folks, Sheffield United, bottom of the Premier League. Rough week going in against Liverpool this week. Don't look for that. Two straight draws for Sheffield United, but only 2 points is not enough to get them back in this fight from 2 possible point stays. And running into a game against Liverpool. Burnley, they are unbeaten in their last 3. Looking a little bit better than they have most of the season, and that puts them at 18 points, 3 points up on Sheffield United, and now 4 points behind 18th place Luton Town. Luton Town at 22 points. They are behind on goal differential to the team just safe Nottingham Forest. Folks, Nottingham Forest did face their 4-point penalty for breaking the PSRs. They sit after another draw last week and Luton Town's defeat last week. That brought them back above, again, a goal differential of 3, keeping Nottingham Forest in the Premier League as of right now. Again, Nottingham Forest is appealing their 4-point penalty. They are 3 points behind Everton. Folks, Everton's still sitting with their 6 points. It's already been appealed. That's what it is. It's 6 points, and I still don't get the... With all the numbers that are out there for who broke the rules, it seems that Forest has broken them by double in amount. Kind of confusing, and also how a stadium is included in our cost. But anyways, that 6 points would have us solely in 14th place. However, with the 6-point deduction, sitting 16th, 3 points up on Forest, 2 points behind 15th place Brentford. So Everton, depending on how they do against Newcastle, after losing 3 straight, and a team that has had inconsistency this season, including getting knocked out of the Champions League quite quickly and handedly. Maybe not handedly, but rough show. This is a good place for Everton to get their first win of the calendar year, but Newcastle has found a lot of goal-scoring form after the Champions League knockout. Brentford sitting those 2 points up. They're 15th going into a game against Brighton. Definitely a team they can compete with and get into the win column themselves. They are 2 draws and 3 losses in their last 5. 14th place, Crystal Palace. They're 30 points, 3 points up on Brentford. Crystal Palace going into a game against Bournemouth. A game they can definitely compete in, and that's going to be a really good matchup and could possibly end up being a draw. 13th place does belong to Bournemouth as they sit 8 points now up on Crystal Palace, solely in 13th place, and are on a good run, folks. They are 3-1-1 in their last 5, so including unbeaten in their last 4. So Bournemouth is on a great run, and going into Crystal Palace, honestly, the unbeaten record right now could continue at least this week for Bournemouth. Fulham just ahead of them by 1 point. They are solely in 12th place, also finding a good run of form over the last few match weeks anyway. They are 3-1-1 as well in their last 5 as they head into a game against Nottingham Forest. And if you're an Everton fan, you're definitely cheering for Fulham today. Chelsea sits 1 point up on Fulham in 11th place. Hard to believe Chelsea, with the players that they have, the season that it brought them, sitting 2-3-0 in their last 5, heading into a game against Manchester United. This could be a very even game, and either team can win that game. Just not sure which team you're going to get when this game starts. 10th place belongs to Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're 1 point up on Chelsea, and this is all still very close, folks. You've got 3 points separating 9th and 12th place. So top 10, that's money, sponsorship. Placing is so important in football, folks. Looking at that, we've got Brighton and Hove Albion 1 point up on Wolves. They have lost 2 out of their last 3 games heading into that game against Brentford. And this is a game where Brighton should be able to get themselves where they're making a whole bunch of passes. They have a whole lot of possession. And if they can keep the ball away from Ivan Toney or Neil Maupay or the scoring folks on Brentford, it could be a good day for Brighton. Newcastle sitting in 8th place. They move up on Brighton and Wolves, jumping them to 8th. 43 points in, again, heading into a game against Everton, and a game that looks like it's theirs for the tanking and could be a means to get back ahead of West Ham United for that 7th place spot, where they are just 1 point ahead, West Ham United. They go into that game against Spurs, and that game could go either way. Spurs have looked really dominant later on in the season, and it took them a while to get going through some injuries and that. But they've looked very potent otherwise. Maybe if they didn't have the injuries during the season and they were a little healthier during the year, they would be back in the top 4 fight a little better. However, Manchester United sitting there with 48 points in 6th place, so the second Europa League spot, 4 points ahead of West Ham United, and they go in again to that game against Chelsea. And 5th place, folks, Spurs. Took them a lot of work to get up to this spot, the first Europa League position, and they're having a pretty good last 5, but they did lose 2 and win 3, but no draws out of those 2 losses. Folks, Aston Villa sitting in 4th place, 3 points up on Spurs, and again, that they have fallen into Spurs, and they are pretty much in a battle between Spurs and Villa for that final Champions League spot, folks, and there is a few teams with games in hand here. Like Spurs has a game in hand, so that could be tying. They could tie Villa and go ahead on goal differential if they were able to do that. I have to see. That possibility is there, folks. Pretty much the battles are, well, Manchester United's almost fighting off West Ham, Newcastle catching them, Brighton, Wolves, and Chelsea, and maybe even Fulham trying to keep things up to West Ham United. It is only a 5-point difference from West Ham to Fulham. Granted, with 10, 11, or 12 games left of the season, there's enough time there for a lot of that to switch around. So Villa and Spurs, 59 and 56 points. Villa, again, that final Champions League place. They are on a good run. They are 3-1-1 in their last 5, but going into a game against Manchester City today, noted overfunded difference. City unbeaten in their last 5 going into that game against Villa, and they are now 5 points ahead of Villa. So, again, that could change. Like, Villa could catch up to Manchester City. It's kind of unlikely, but it would have to be a great run by Villa coming into the end part of this season. Arsenal's gotten them back in this fight with that crazy run of goal-scoring form that's just been impressive. And they are 2 points behind Liverpool. Folks, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Manchester City all have a game in hand on Aston Villa. So all the teams around Villa have games in hand, every one of them. They're surrounded by it. The only one that's I see, Chelsea could play 2 games. That could be 46 points. Even if they won those 2 games, it would still only put them in 7th, and that would be depending on how other things go. But folks, Liverpool looking very strong. Arsenal, both of them in a great run. City's been a little bit off, but they're still there. They're still having an unbeaten run. And Villa trying desperately to keep up, but it's been difficult. And Spurs trying to get back into that hunt, trying to chase down Villa. And folks, really, you look at the bottom, who's getting relegated? Burnley and Sheffield United are done. It would take a heck of a run for Burnley to catch Luton Town and Forest, and an even bigger run to try to catch Everton at this point for them. It looks very unlikely for both teams. Luton Town, they're the last team to fight it out with Nottingham Forest and Everton. Brentford, they do not want to fall into this. If positive results go for Everton, Forest, and Luton Town, and Brentford does lose to Brighton this week, they'd be in the fight. Crystal Palace should be far enough ahead, maybe to get some points here and there and stay out of that fight. Maybe 14th is almost pretty much safe. But that's where we're at, folks. Pretty much a fight between Everton, Nottingham Forest, and Luton Town. Brentford in danger of falling into it. Burnley and Sheffield United are going down, folks. And again, just a reminder about the English Championship, the second tier of English football. Right now, Ipswich and Leeds have overtaken Leicester City. They're in the 80-point range. It's like 87, 85, and 84 or something like that. It's very close. It's less than a few points, and it's still very close. There's about 6 games left of that schedule, folks. So the championship is almost done as well. Quick run over picks, folks. Newcastle and Everton kicking off the day at 3:30, so in an hour's time. I'll be watching that game. 3-0. Looking for Newcastle to blow out Everton. We can't score goals, and I see no reason for it to change. Like, I don't know what to do to get Beto and Calvert-Lewin to wake up. Decore could be doing some scoring. McNeil could be doing some scoring. Branthwaite and Tarky are definitely capable of some good headers off of set pieces if we can get corners and get good set pieces. And just making the most of the chances and actually getting the ball on the net. So many times balls are going wide, and too many times we have to settle for garbage. Sorry for saying this, garbage goals like hockey. Everyone pile into the net almost on set pieces. But folks, Newcastle's been putting things together, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to go against the Blues today. Nottingham Forest and Fulham, they are also playing at 3:30. Look for Fulham, I think, to continue their winning ways. Get a 1-0 win over Forest. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace are at 3:45, so 15 minutes after the first 2 games there. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, looking for that to be a win for Bournemouth and 2-1 for the Cherries. Burnley and Wolverhampton. Folks, Burnley, second bottom of the league. Going in against the game against Wolves, there has been a little bit of quality out of Burnley in the last couple of weeks, looking slightly better, but unfortunately it's just too much mustard too late. Wolves having a good season, they should be able to beat Burnley, but folks, I'm going to give it to Burnley here in a 1-1 draw. So they're going to split points on that game. West Ham United and Tottenham at 4:15. They're at West Ham United, but folks, I'm expecting Tottenham to really keep the pressure on Villa, if not overtake them. It's not going to take too much longer at this rate. If West Ham has some quality, maybe it'll be a draw, but folks, I'm looking for some goals in it. 3-2 for Tottenham. Arsenal and Luton Town are... Oh, wait, no. Yep, that game's at 4:15. Arsenal and Luton Town. Folks, these are the games on tomorrow. They're kicking off the afternoon at 3:30. And, folks, Arsenal's been on an incredible scoring run. I've said it before. Unreal goal-scoring run, except that game against City, scoreless draw, just before that. Like, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in about 5 or 6 straight games. Just an incredible run by Arsenal. Brentford and Brighton Hove Albion also playing at 3:30 tomorrow. Folks, looking for that one to be a draw. Manchester City and Aston Villa. This is a huge opportunity for Aston Villa just to try to clip at Manchester City's wings a little bit here, to try to pull back into the fight. If they could steal this game, it would be huge in Aston Villa's season and City's season. Villa and Spurs, that game could have some, Champions League, Europa League stuff go on here. But looking for it to be a scoreless draw. Liverpool, Sheffield United, folks. Sheffield United, bottom of the league. Too much, too little, too late. Liverpool, Sheffield United, 2-0 Liverpool. Chelsea, Manchester United at 4:15 tomorrow. That could be the game of the week, folks. Depending on which teams you get, it could be very good back and forth. Could be even possession. Could be a lot of possession Chelsea. Could be a lot of possession Manchester United. Again, it depends on which teams are actually going to show up for that game. And that's been my picks for match week 31, folks. Yeah. Blue-Eyed Sports with Allan Noblett is available on Facebook. Please send an invite to your friends. Drop a like, comment, share the video if you want to, if you enjoyed the discussion. Also available on YouTube at Blue-Eyed Sports and on X at Cyborg Caper. So whichever platforms floats your boat. Have a look and enjoy, folks. Yeah, kickoff's in an hour, less than an hour. Woo! See you next time, folks.